Welcome to Breaking Barriers. You know your path. We know the obstacles, and we can teach you how to tear them down. And now your host, CEO and founder of Adapting Social, John Vigero.
All right, so guys, welcome back to Breaking Barriers. My man Ed Stulak here. Dude, you were on the podcast in 2019, I think, or 2018.
One of the first, yeah.
It was right before the pandemic, actually.
Yes, it was.
Holy. So it's been about 2 years, maybe a little bit more, but so much has changed, obviously, especially in the real estate game. For everybody out there who listened to our podcast 2 years plus ago, what's changed in your life since then?
Things, the real estate market, I would say that.
Just a little bit, just a little bit.
A tad bit. No, writing a book right now, so that's been a year and a half into progress.
Okay.
Focusing on my course, doing things of that sort, selling real estate, of course, growing a team now. Made a transfer over to a new agency called Real Broker, growing my team.
So you went from, and for everyone out there that may be just listening now or whatever, so you went from Remax.
I was at Remax,
boom,
correct?
to Real.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good memory.
And for people who don't know what the hell Real is, what is Real?
Yes. Real Broker, it's a very technical, like tech type of company,
Okay.
all virtual, all concept that way, and it's just really growing right now. But I joined when I was about the 1,400 agent.
Wow.
We're now at about 4,000, and that was just about a year ago. Just hit my 1 year mark.
So early adapter.
So the early adapter.
That's cool.
Pioneer.
That's cool.
So I like to do that stuff. I like to be different. But yeah, so that's where I'm at right now. Went from Remax, great company, but I just wanted to do something that's a little bit more geared towards what my vision is, and that's all online, social media, branding.
Digital focus.
So
last time we spoke too, so there's been, you have a team now. You were on a team.
I was on a team.
Now you have your own team, the Orbis Group,
Orbis Group.
The Orbis Group. Talk to us a little bit about that. How did that come into fruition? Obviously you switched firms. You know, what made you say, you know what, I'm going to build a team?
So it started when I had this project over in Somerville called Somerville Park, 180 unit building.
Big, that's a big building.
Came from Instagram, just a DM, and they said, hey, we need a listing agent.
They slid into the DMs.
Slid into the DM. I like those types of slides. So that was
business slide DMs, I like it.
Yes, yeah. So they slid in with a little bit of an appointment saying, hey, let's meet tomorrow morning, 9:30. So I went there, and long story short of it all is that this was a big project, one that I've never perceived myself to really take on as a solo agent. Immediately I said, I need a team. After spending 92 hours there 1 week, I said, I think I need a team. And I just started growing the team. And I started growing the Orbis Group. It started with one agent, then two, and then three, and then now we're at eight. Is there
any units still available in that? Are you still representing that?
Yeah, we have about like 15 units left.
Okay,
so
wow.
It's been 2 years now since
so
I've
$180 now down to two. That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's
so
really cool.
It's growing, but that type of project, you need a team. You can't do that by yourself.
No, totally. So what would you say then? So for people out there that are listening that are like, hey, you know, I want to build a real estate team. So since, you know, you're kind of in the earlier phases of it, but what have you learned thus far in like what it takes to build a team?
Transparency. You gotta be transparent with everyone. Set expectations. That's another thing I learned just this week. You gotta set expectations with your teammates so they know what the vision is. What are we tackling all together as a whole, as a unit, and then individually too. Right. So setting goals, of course, as well. Making sure that all the agents know where we're heading and where they are heading, so I know how to help them too. Not just help me help. You know, it's a bunch of little elements to this all. But so transparency for sure. Setting expectations. And honestly, just hand-holding. Hand-holding is something that I missed out on. When I was in the beginning of my real estate career, no one really held it. They were kind of just like, you know, go that direction and then let us know how it goes. And I needed a little bit more hand-holding, holding. So that's what I want to bring as a team leader to my team.
That's awesome. So like, a little bit more of a personal touch, obviously. You know, I think that's one of the benefits, obviously, when you're working with a smaller group. You know, it's tough in the beginning. And I think, listen, there's some weight to being able to have your own lessons of bouncing on the guardrails, I call it, because you don't know anything. Then there's also a great amount of learning that you do from other people who have done it before, right? So like you saying, hand-holding, you know, you've done things in your career that you can help your team members avoid, right?
Totally.
And I feel like I've said this a million podcasts in a row, so everybody listening, sorry if I keep repeating this damn thing, but it's like, you know, any fool can learn from their own mistakes. It takes somebody wise to learn from other people's mistakes, right? So that's what hand-holding, I think, does. And that's awesome. So in this transition, so I want to ask you this, and I love this whole, you know, conversation around real estate, especially locally in Jersey right now. It's like this crazy EXP, the great like transition, I'll call it, right? everybody's going to EXP. Obviously, your brokerage is a very similar model, right?
Similar model.
Why do you think so many people are going to brokerages like what Real is and what EXP is?
Because it's a brokerage that finally benefits the agent as opposed to just the consumer. A lot of agents go to places like Remax, Century 21, Compass, and these are all great agencies. I have nothing bad to say about any of them.
Right.
Some need a little bit more evolving. Some need a little bit more of a modern approach to what they're doing today.
Right.
But a concept like EXP, Real Broker, and there are a few others out there that are
Right.
still just slowly starting to take off. EXP was just one of the first to market. So of course everyone is learning about that. Not many people know
Right.
about Real just yet.
Right,
So people
right.
like that because it's finally benefiting the realtor. As real estate agents,
Right.
we don't really have a what do you call it? A 401k.
401k
We don't have that type of plan
Those
set up
benefits.
for the future. The
benefits. Right.
But something like this, which allows you to grow your revenue share, your stock portfolio, you have a few legs playing here that can grow your income for the future. Other agencies don't exactly offer that. So that's why it's such an intrigue
Right.
to a realtor to see these types of agencies and say, why wouldn't I do this right now more than ever before?
Right.
I made more money in my boxers last year than I ever did before. I think that's true. I was
Right.
in my boxers right on my computer at my home office, and I made more money in real estate and
Right.
anything really, my social
Yep.
media, my coaching, my
Right.
branding, and real estate, everything just from my home.
Right.
So I realized I don't really need to be paying for office and lights and the electricity bill. For what reason? When I can do it all from my home, I can
Totally.
do that and save some money. And then there's an agency like this that came along and
Right.
just streamlined the process. So
Right.
there are many benefits. I can keep going
So
and going.
no, so all right, so that's a good point. And now I want to get into a little bit deeper though. So right, so why not start your own?
Own agency?
Yeah.
I know the amount that it would probably take to go ahead and do that.
Yeah.
It's taking me
And
a
for the record,
long
I
time.
ask almost like people like Sal. I ask this
Yeah.
question too. Bigger people in real estate that I have as clients that work for Compass or Douglas Elliman or whatever it is, So I just get curious where it's like people who are out there grinding, building a brand. Like I'm only asking this question purely for just devil's advocacy, right?
Yeah.
So like, I look at it this way: you're somebody who's a branded person, right? And so you're putting stock into this other company, right? Obviously, it's benefiting you, right? But why not just do it for yourself and build that brand equity and all that stuff that it takes?
Sure. So a guy like Sirhan, Ryan Sirhan.
Yes.
This is a man that it's taken him some time to build up the name that he's built him for
Totally.
himself.
10 years.
And just now he
Right.
released his agency. It's 2022. He just
Yes.
did it a few months ago,
Yeah.
whenever it was. So he just did that.
Yep.
That's, I guess, his vision. He finally built up such a name where it's known worldwide, where people can go ahead and now join.
Right.
Am I getting there? Sure, slowly but surely. It's
Right.
going to be a few more years before I get to a level where the world knows about Ed Stulak, right?
Right.
But right now, I
Watch
know
out,
just the
world.
local, watch out. Just the local area, just America, Northern America, South
Right.
America, Europe is starting to. So I don't know if I personally want to take on that workload as a broker,
Right.
to own a brokerage and take on those responsibilities, as I
Right.
know there is someone already doing it at my agency,
Right.
and I just kind of build up my name. So right now, I know a lot of people that are in the same boat. They also have a big name, and they don't want to open up a brokerage. There's no name, there's no reason for them to do so. They just want to have a team. They want agents on their team, and they want to grow that side of
Right.
things.
Right.
Less responsibilities, and still, these guys are also making still crazy
Great
boatloads of
money. Right,
Yeah.
right.
So for them to go ahead and take on that responsibility is
Right.
just another thing.
So it comes down to responsibility.
I think so.
Okay.
A workload. I don't really want to take that on. It's taking me a year and a half to write my own book right now. So I mean,
Right.
it's like I'm throwing that onto it.
Well, when you have a team, obviously, I guess it's a little bit of a mock or a micro of what it could be like. Because at the end of the day, your team, if they have a challenge or a problem, who are they going to? They're going to you.
Yeah.
So
that's it.
it's
It's coming to
yeah.
me.
I always like asking that question just because I think it's interesting because some people do it, whether it's early phase, like Sirhan, shout out to Ryan, obviously. We've worked with him and have him on the podcast, and it's so crazy because like the way that he's so innovative with what he's doing, it's fucking bananas. But it's just an interesting point. So from your point, it's responsibility, workload.
Yeah, that's
Don't
it.
want it right now.
That's right.
Got
That's
it.
right. I don't think
Pass
I
it
want it
on.
in 5 years from now, honestly. I think so.
Maybe you never want it. Who knows?
Maybe
you never want it.
Or 5 years I wake up and say, now it's time. No idea.
So let's talk about balance, right?
Cool.
So I'm curious for your like vision, right? Like on like what you do for a work/personal life and what that balance has been. I know obviously again going back 2 years ago plus, when we did Adapt and Grow, had you on the podcast. You're building up IGRE. You had a bunch of stuff going on. what do you do? Do you have any sort of philosophy or your own regiment that you have where it's like, boom, this is how I live my personal life, and here's how it works with my business? How do you integrate the two, or what's your philosophy on it?
It's bizarre to me to see so many out there that are, I guess you can consider them to be perceived as successful. They're making great money. They have a big name, all this stuff, and they all have like some sort of regimen. I have to wake up this time. I work out. I do this. That is not me whatsoever.
Right.
I have none of that. I don't really go about goal setting. It's not like I have to sell 48 homes this year to hit that GCI, and then I don't have that. That's just not my personal life.
Right.
I wake up whenever it is that I wish, whenever my body feels fully rested. Sometimes I'll go to bed at 1 a.m. Sometimes I'll fall asleep at 11 o'clock. I have no idea. I wake up when I need to.
Right.
But I still get things done. I'll still have my 13-hour workday if need be. And this is just personally how I've operated for the past 10 years, and it's been doing me well.
Yeah.
That's me, though. It doesn't mean for you or for him or for her.
Right.
Everyone has a little bit different.
Right.
My regimen. I need my balance. I go home. I was just asked this the other day. What do you do for balance? We just talked about it before. I play hockey. I love playing hockey. It gets my mind out of work, out of life, out of friendship, relationships, all that stuff going on, and just puts me into something that I love so much. Put on the skates, go on the ice, smell that fresh Zamboni air, and I just go and play some hockey, and that is my let loose.
Right.
I go home, I watch Netflix, I fall asleep in my bed with, I don't know, my snack or something. Like, that's just who I am. I'm being transparent.
What's the snack? What's the go-to snack?
Oh man, it's Haagen-Dazs caramel cone ice cream, for example. Big shout out.
Let's go.
Like, that's just my thing. You know?
Yeah.
So, and that helps me go to sleep peacefully. That helps me wake up in the morning.
Yep.
And that's just my regimen. Like I don't have that 9 to 5 or 5 a.m. wake up. No, not me.
So what I love about this, and I love what you're saying, is that one of the biggest things that I started off 2022 with our first podcast of the year talking about was like how, again, when I started AS, it was like 17. And so I just like followed and looked at and like, how can I model like Tony Robbins, all these other people who are like, wake up at 4 a.m., jump in a cold sink pool, do meditation, do this, do that, work out, whatever, right?
And what's worked for you?
Right. Well, that's the thing. So like I did that, but I've done that literally for like over a decade, and I hated it every day. But I was like, I have to do this. I have to do this. And so this year, probably at the end of 2021, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna change up my regimen a little bit. I want to see just what works for my body, which is why it's interesting you're literally saying that. So I went into this year thinking like, okay, boom, I'm going to figure out what time I like to work out at. I'm going to figure out what I like to work out doing, sleep, wake up, reading, whatever, personal development, meditation, prayer, whatever I'm doing. And it's so interesting because for so many years I followed other people. And don't get me wrong, I think it's definitely helped me along my journey because I've always looked up to people like Tony Robbins. But now you see people in the world like Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos or you always look at somebody who's successful and at the pinnacle of success, and you say to yourself, like, look what they're doing, let me model it. And I think when you're early in your career, you should, right? Like when I was, for the first decade of adapting social, I really never took a vacation. If I went away, my laptop was glued to me and I was on phone calls the whole time. So I never unplugged fully. I remember the first time when we were on my honeymoon with Jacqueline, my wife, and she's like, you're not going on your phone, you're not doing whatever. And there was one time, I'll never forget, dude, I was sitting there, she was taking a shower, and I ran like outside of the hotel room, and I was like, beep, beep, like in the Caribbean, I'm like, what's going on, how's this, whatever, and she called me, and I was like, oh. And like she was upset, because she's like, you should be unplugged and stuff. But I think there's that phase of your life when you're growing something that you need to be so dedicated. But then I look at, like, again, like an Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos, like these people wake up at 8 o'clock. These people have breakfast and then go to work and then like, work out when they work out, like, and they do what they want to do. And so I started to say to myself, like, well, I want to see what John's body, which is, I love everything you just said, because you, again, like most people that are listening are super disciplined, super regimented. You're fucking having Haagen-Dazs for a bed?
Right.
Ed, are you nuts?
I bet.
Right?
Don't judge me.
No, but they can, because everybody works different,
Right.
So I love what you just said, because I think more people need to understand that. It's like not everybody's body works the same way. Not everybody's mind or mental capacity works the same way.
Right.
Like when I'm like you just said 13 hours, right? There's some people that are listening in, they might be like 13 hours, fuck that, I'm not working that much. And, so everybody's different. But I think what I'm alluding to is the fact that everybody is completely different. Like for me, I would hit the gym all the time for so long. And then just this year, I was like, you know what? I started to take up boxing, and I like it. I'm in the best shape of my life.
I noticed that.
Thank you. And like I'm having fun. Like I'm not like fucking repping like dumbbells anymore, like and just sitting there bored as hell.
No.
I'm actually like trying to get in good shape and like I'm enjoying it, right? So fuck like working out right now. It's like that to me is fun. So anyway, shout out to Ed for that. I give you so much respect for saying that. And shout out to Haagen-Dazs for fueling Ed's fucking hustle. And are you a coffee drinker? Do you drink coffee?
I'm a coffee drinker.
Are you like a 1 or 2? What do you do? What's your coffee regimen?
I'm a one. I'm a sweet kind of guy, though. I like sweet. I'm not. People tell me black coffee. I'm like,
that's my wife, dude.
there.
She likes it black. I can't even. I don't drink coffee at all.
Okay.
But when I grew up, my avós, I'm Portuguese, and English is your second language, right?
Yeah. Slovak first.
Slovak,
yeah.
right? So I have Polish in me too. So, but that side of my family, sweet coffee. Like there's literally there's a little splash of coffee in my creamer, my French vanilla creamer.
That, yeah.
I don't drink it, but like if I do, I'm drinking that. So okay, cool. So you're a 1 a day coffee dude.
1 a day coffee.
And that's it.
Yeah, pretty much.
Are you an energy drink guy?
No, not energy drink. I'll do a Red Bull before hockey, like once in a blue
fucking
moon. That's right. But no, not really.
Okay.
Like I wake up in the morning, I'll go to whatever it is that I really find that is going to fuel me for that second.
Right.
Again, I know my body. If my body is asking for sweet, I give it sweet. If it's asking for, like the other day, I'm not gonna. I hate admitting it, stuff like that. But like a cigar, like I'll smoke a cigar.
Fuck yeah! Wait, whoa. There's nothing wrong with that.
There's nothing wrong with it. I know, but people.
Nicole loves cigars, right, Nicole?
Yeah. Nice. All right, we'll be friends. So I'll have a cigar with my whiskey or something of that sort. But to me, it's like smoking not a part of my thing. It's not my life. People ask me, like, do you smoke all the time? No, I don't smoke all the time.
No.
I like it when my body asks for it.
Yeah.
That's really it. So if it's asking for black coffee, I'll do black coffee.
Yeah.
My client the other day, first time meeting her, she's like, can I get you coffee? I'm like, yeah, sure. I'm like, I'm curious what she's going to offer along it. She's like, sugar, you want any milk? I'm like, milk would be great. She's like, I don't have any. I'm like, I like it black anyway.
You're like, no worries, of course. But I love that, though. It's so interesting, though, because, you know, when you look at like the things that energize you or get you ramped up, so you said, so just rewinding that back a little bit and unpacking it, obviously hockey keeps you energized.
Totally.
You having your own schedule, and your own flowing schedule, so like to end the day with Netflix, chill in the bed, you know, your ice cream, and then obviously, you know, throughout the day, you know, when you do what you do. But I love the cigar thing. I'm a big cigar guy myself and whiskey guy myself, so we got to do that soon. And I told my guy, oh my goodness, I'm having a brain fart. Who's our guy from the Taylor?
Oh, Oscar.
Oscar. There it is.
Oh,
so
yeah,
with
big
Oscar,
whiskey guy.
no, I told him, I said, listen, I want to host something. I'm actually going to do it here one day.
Okay.
Shout out to my guy Oscar, hooked up the shirts. But I want to, there we go.
Boom.
But I want to hold something like that in here where it's cigars, whiskeys, and just kind of like guys, just, you know, and
cool.
whoever, you know, networking. But anyway, so yeah, so I think it's important that anybody listening in finds that, right? You find that balance, you find that what drives you. I like to say integration and harmony. I think that's what I was alluding to. Like if you're on vacation, and you have, or like for instance, I saw you like you were snowboarding somewhere. You know, like if you have clients hit you up and like you have a deal going sour or something, like does that affect your trip? Are you somebody like when you're away, like you want to be unplugged, or how does that work for you when you're away? That integration or harmony.
Yeah, of course. I was out in Colorado a few weeks ago. I'm a big skier now.
Okay.
You know, hockey in me, so I know how to ski.
Yep.
So we were out there, and we were with a bunch of other agents from around the country, and we were just brainstorming, working together. But I knew that I had deals going on. Deals are happening all the time. There's no ever right moment in real estate that you can take a day off. It's just not a thing.
No.
Sundays, Mondays, doesn't matter. Vacations, Christmas, I was closing deals on New Year's Eve last year. It's just a thing. So
you're at the mercy of your clients.
Yeah, kind of in that sense. But at the same time, I have my boundary. Like, I am away. I will get to you when I get to you. And if you're not okay with that, that's okay. I know a better realtor for you. Here you go. I put him in that direction.
So you make that very abundantly transparent.
Definitely.
What I love that you said earlier, but I can't remember if it was before we started this. I think it was before we started this, managing expectations.
Yeah.
I think from not only a team perspective, but like for even client especially, right? It's so important. And I think that I learned that obviously a little bit to mid to later on in my journey.
Okay.
Because being in sales, right? Like you're in sales, I'm in sales. And when you're building a relationship with somebody, if you set that cadence from the beginning where you're like, listen, when I'm away, if I'm hitting the slopes or if I'm playing hockey, like I'm not available. There's some people that are not okay with that. They're like, if I call you, you fucking pick up.
Yeah.
At Adapt and Grow, perfect example was when Ryan had that person call. Remember? And everybody, it was funny. Everybody thought that was like planned and like a fucking fake thing. But he apologized after. He's like, that was one of my huge clients that like if I didn't answer that phone, I'm fired. So it's like on the middle of a stage with like 300 people in the audience, he had to do that, and he had to like pivot and make
Play
that a
with it,
thing.
improvise.
He had to improvise
Improv,
to
yeah.
not lose the client, right?
Yeah.
So I think everybody comes to a point where they do that, but I think managing expectations is so critical for successful relationships in anything, especially client and team facing, because obviously these are the people that you're working with, and I've noticed over time where it's like you think like, oh, I'm not going to say this in the beginning because in the middle, when you're trying to sell somebody to work with Ed or work with John or whatever the case is,
Some people tend to overpromise just to get the deal going.
100%.
Yeah.
I've done that.
Incorrect
I've been there, and it wasn't out of harmful intention. It was out of like, in that moment, I'll do whatever it takes. Like,
Yeah.
and I mean it. I'll do whatever it takes. But sometimes life throws you curveballs, and you can't get something done, and then you're held to your word. That's why, to your point, I think it's so important to manage expectations, and almost like the hardest thing to do is under-promise and over-deliver, especially in the beginning of a relationship, because people want the moon and more, right? But I think when you get to a certain point where, you're confident in what you do, you're confident in your product, you're confident in your team, that you can kind of just be realistic,
That's it.
and then you leave it there. And I think, it's been a journey to get to that point for me specifically, right? And my sales team, right? Because again, in markets like yours and mine, it's so competitive. If you come to my house and you're going to list my house, I have fucking a million realtors knocking down my door, right? So if you're not going to answer the phone, if you give me all these rules and stipulations, in this market, people will be like, fuck you, right? Which is tough. But I think it goes without saying, if somebody in this market, because it is a hot market, if somebody's confident in their abilities and say, this is how I work, you can go somewhere else, sometimes it's attractive, right? Because you're like, damn, all right, this guy's about to just fucking tell me to go scratch, right? There's a little bit of like, oh, wait a second, I had this realtor tell me he's going to wash my car, right? And now this guy's telling me, if I'm not for you, I'm not for you, which is cool.
That's it. Transparency, setting proper expectations, realistic ones, optimistic ones. So
Right.
the optimism can get a little bit, over-promise or under-deliver.
Right.
So you got to be real with them, though. But I think that's just without...
No pun intended with real.
No pun intended. Dude,
You gotta keep it real. You gotta keep it real.
Gotta keep it real. That's it.
What's going on in your world over the next couple of years that you're planning for? Maybe even the next year. Like what's next for Ed and the Orbis group? Like what's the deal, man?
Honestly, ever since I got this project, Somerville Park, 180 units, it has shapeshifted my focus and vision. As I mentioned, I never knew that this avenue of real estate exists. I thought it was just single families, condos, townhouses. That's real estate for you right there. And then commercial.
Developers.
Right. And now this developer came knocking on my door digitally, and I'm thinking, okay, this is a different avenue. Let me try to see if it's even for me. But here we are 2 years later. I'm having a blast.
Yep.
I'm loving every second of it. I just came from there right now from the office. I was doing
nice,
some
nice.
work. Like, that's just what I do now.
What town is that in?
Somerville. So next to Bridgewater, Raritan area, that direction. So, but this project opened up my eyes, and I want more projects like this for myself and for Orbis.
So now you got the developer itch.
So now I'm at that point where I'm trying to get developers nationwide.
Nice.
That's why That's why I started growing a team in Arizona. We have
Nice.
about 4 agents there now.
Okay.
Kansas, we have about 9 or 10 agents over there.
Nice.
So if I get a developer,
Boom.
and I have that location, I already have a team there ready to go. So like now I just bring a developer and start that project, and now I can travel, which
Nice.
is another thing I want to unlock is more travel for
travel.
business. So that's kind of a little bit of my 2 to 5 year plan. Get more buildings, more projects that I can supervise, be a part of.
Right.
And then just for myself, I want to continue growing the name Ed Stulak, finally finish up my book, get that out there. It's called Real Estate Fame, How to Build a Personal Brand That Attracts Millions. So that's the book. It's going to be coming soon. 2022.
What's the expected time on that?
You know what? It was first December, and then January, and then February, and now here we are in March. And I was still talking about it on podcasts, but I'm being realistic with myself. I'm not trying to pressure myself just to throw out a product because, I said time frame wise, like if it's not right, I don't want you to pick up the book, read it, and be like, this isn't that. This is not. I know you can do better.
Right.
Like when you pick up that book, I want you to say, was not expecting this, under promising, over delivering.
Right.
So that's where I'm at with the book, though.
Yeah.
So, yeah, stuff like that.
And you have your own timeline. Every time he says real, take a shot, okay?
Take a shot. I like that. I'm gonna make that a thing.
every time he says real, take 2 shots.
Cool.
But that's cool though. And listen, I think you make the best product when you're not rushing, right? So at least you have your own timeline. You know what you want to do. That's it, right? What more could you want to do? So for people out there listening in, man, I have 2 more things for pop here.
Okay.
One, again, you're always somebody who's always dressed up, looking good. What does how you present yourself and why do you put so much time and effort into your representation of you, which is your wardrobe, whatever you're driving in, blah blah blah. Like why do you invest money into that?
It makes me feel good at the end of the day, and when I know that I feel good, I look good, I speak good, I act good, people come to me. It's the energy. If I walk into a room and someone's depressed, I don't want to talk to them.
Right.
I'm good. You stay there. Right? But if I come into a room and they're happy, I get attracted to them. So I know that I want others to be attracted to me.
Right.
And what is the best way for me to energize the best type of energy and put it out there? Is when I feel good, I look good, I smile, and my hair is all done up, and like now I feel like I'm good to have a nice conversation, put my back up straight, and talk.
Right.
So I will invest a little bit into the look, into what I drive. I love driving here an hour down south. Like I was booking it, I was loving it. It was nice.
Right.
It feels good again. Now when a phone call comes in unexpectedly, I know how to talk about it because let's go. I feel good.
Right.
So I think it's really about feeling good.
So look good, feel good, perform good.
Yeah, that's really simple as that.
I like
and also, I always say that your personality isn't the first thing people see.
That's true. That's very true.
Someone sees you in a nice suit, they're going to assume, start judging in a good way, I would assume.
Yeah.
Right? So, wow, he must have money. There's something going on there. He has his life together.
Right.
Good, God bless. Little do they know, I do not have my life together.
But
it's stuff like that.
When me and my wife were in Paris, I'll never forget it. We were at this one fancy chocolate place, and there was this one chocolate that was $100 for like a penny-sized chocolate.
Get out of here.
And I remember asking the chocolatier, I'm like, why is this $100? And they're like, oh, blah blah. So I'm like, all right. I was curious, I wanted to try it. So me and my wife got it to try. And before they would even give it to me, they put it in this little, when you open up an Apple phone, how nice the boxing is. And this thing had a magnet on it. The box was this small, but the box looked beautiful, right? And on top of the chocolate, which I didn't realize, there's a little gold foil layer on it or whatever. So I asked the chocolatier, I'm like, what's up with all this stuff? And they're like, before anybody ever tastes this chocolate with their mouth, they taste it with their eyes. So same concept, right? So their first experience is what they're seeing before personality comes into play, before what you can provide comes into play. And I think it's important.
Love that.
Especially when you're in sales.
Yeah.
If you're selling something, you're selling yourself, you're selling a company or product, whatever it is, before somebody's going to give you a shot, they're looking at you.
That's it.
Before you even open your mouth, right?
That's it. And I know some people in flip-flops that are selling millions of dollars in real estate. That's what makes them feel good and act good. So again, it comes back down to that. Whatever you are,
what works for you.
Yeah.
What works for you.
Again, you got to know yourself. That's really so simple as that.
Yeah.
Know yourself.
Yeah. And so for everybody out there, we're going to end here real quick. So this one I haven't asked you yet.
Okay.
This is a new one. Putting you on the spot. You ready for this?
Hit me. It's about to get real.
It's about to get a real shot. So, all right. So now, legacy, right? I think it's a big thing for people who are super motivated and want to get after it in life. So the biggest way that I like to look at legacy is looking at the end and then reverse engineering backwards, right? Because if I know I want to be this person or I want to leave this impact on the world, it typically gets put onto the one thing that stays on this planet thousands of years after we leave here, which is our gravestone, right? So what is your gravestone in today's world, right? If you were making it today based off of who you want to be, what would that gravestone say? There's always loving father, son, made the world a better place, whatever it is. What would Ed Stulak say?
What does that gravestone say? Mm-hmm. That is on the spot. Whew. I like it though. I don't want to give a half-ass answer. So, what would it say?
I hit a hat trick once.
Something like that. Oh man.
No, what do you think?
It would be short, simple, sweet, very meaningful, where anyone can just walk by it and say, "Huh, cool." Do what you love. Do what makes you happy. Mm-hmm. Life is way too short.
So that would be your legacy you leave though?
I would say so. That's something that goes on in my mind every single day. Mm-hmm. Am I doing what I love? If I work 13 hours a day, because
frameworking that into what goes on a stone would probably be he did what he loved, right? Because it's them seeing this. Because no gravestones have a quote on it, right? So it's what did he do? What did he impact? So if it was,
good point, right?
You know what I'm saying? So it would say what?
Yeah, he did what he loved, and he made other people find what they love.
Boom. I like it.
Something simple like that.
I love it.
Making people happy about what they do.
Yeah.
That's what he did. That's what he's doing. So that's what
Right.
he'll continue to do for the next 60 years.
He was real. Take a shot.
For real.
No, that's awesome, man. It's so good to catch up with you, bro. For everybody out there that's watching in, again, for people who don't know you yet, where can they find you? Social, website, the whole thing.
Cool. Ed Stulak, wherever you look. MySpace, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, wherever you
MySpace
find
for his fucking music dropping the hottest album of 2022.
That's right. If you want to be my top 6. Yeah, no. Ed Stulak, wherever you find me. Realtor of TikTok on TikTok. I like to, perform for my real estate professionals out there. So stuff like that. But
I like it.
Instagram is where you'll definitely find me.
Yeah. Everybody,
thanks.
dude, thank you again. Everybody out there that's listening in, go give Ed a follow. Follow his journey. Creative, great dude. And one thing that I love that he does is always, I think you're transparent. You posted that one thing a while back where you were like, today I had deals fall through, this happened, whatever else. I think it's brave. I think it's courage. I think you put a lot of good stuff out there. So follow my guy's journey. And then last but not least, everybody that's listening in, give us some feedback. Let us know your thoughts on the podcast, any questions you may have for some of the guests that are coming up. And last but not least, obviously, I just want to end on what Ed was saying earlier about finding what works for your body, finding what works for your lifestyle, finding what works for you specifically. Obviously, there's some insane golden nuggets we can all take away from successful people, but at the end of the day, it starts with what works for you. Yes, you're going to have to grind your butt off in the beginning of your career or starting whatever you're doing. That's part of the game. Nobody ever got to the top by having an easy and a crazy easy day. Hard work is what makes us tougher, but at the end of the day, when it comes to your personal life or what makes you happy, those are things I think should be in the non-negotiable section of your life. No matter what, you always make time for it. Doesn't matter what the day is, how crazy the day is. Make that time, because in order for you to create a great day, right, you have to be the pilot, you have to plan, and you have to set yourself up for success. So everybody, thank you so much for watching in. Go give Ed a follow, and Ed's a brother, so we'll see him soon again. Thank you.